pleasure again to start a new session. Okay, just 1 second. So let me share my slides first. Okay, so today's session will be about error correction. Okay, good. But before we start, I would like first to introduce yourself and your country, because a lot of people have just joined us again. Thank you. So we have Kenitra, Rabat, Agadir, Morocco, Marrakesh, Iran. Okay, Casablanca, Morocco, good. Yes, Badia, Casablanca, Camelia, Karima, Casablanca, Hussein, Algeria, good. Beni Bilal, Bourjdour, Safi, Casablanca, Stat, Algeria, Sundus, Kenitra, Asiya, good. So many participants, that's interesting. Cyril from Algeria, Faz, Jordan, Fatima, Shamoucha, okay, Casablanca, Hayat, good. So nice to meet you all. And as you may know, the first session was about approaches and methods in teaching and learning. The second session, second day, was about how to teach grammar communicatively. The third session, the third day, was about how to teach vocabulary, the top ways of teaching vocabulary. And today's session will be about error correction. But before that, basically in the beginning of every session, we need a review. We have to review what we have studied yesterday. Do you agree or not? What do you think? All right, Umayma, yes. Asiya, yes. Very good. So yeah, Sumud, Ikram, interesting. So let me share with you an activity about reviewing what we did last time. Okay, just 1 second, please. Okay, so 1 second. It's a nice activity. Okay. Good. So I'm going to have a review about what we did last time. So let me share with you my screen again. So do you see my slide, my screen? Yes or no? Okay. Let me see. Good. So this is www.bamboozle.com, because very traditional tools is when you have a review on the board. But here you can have a review using online platforms. I guess there is a problem. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to choose here 4 teams options. The time, I'm going to make it off, pass button, off, colorful grid on. So remember, www.bamboozle.com. If you get a wrong answer, you lose points. I'm going to choose classic. But before that, I have to make sure that the audio So do you hear me now? Do you hear me? Amal said the sound, there is a problem. So you hear me now, perfect. Now let's have a review. For example, we are going to have 4 teams. Now imagine you are teaching your class. Okay, and you have 40 students. 40 is a large class. Then you can divide them into 4 groups, 5, 5, or 10, 10, or 7, 7. It depends on your classroom. Okay, so this is team number 1, team number 2, 3, and 4. For example, if I'm going to teach fruits, I'm going to give them the names like banana group, apple group, etc. If the lesson is about animals, I'm going to give them choices: lion team, tiger team, cat, dog, etc. Okay, good. Now let's imagine we have 4 teams. Then I'm gonna say group number 1, you are team number 1. Group 2, you are team number 3, etc. Then group number 1 should choose. So here, can you choose from these numbers? Anyone? Can you write? Anyone? The first one, number 7. So the first one said number 7. Okay, let me go to number 7. So number 7 is the teacher. It's a review about what we did last time. The teacher brings some types of fruit and says, this is a banana. Which technique does the teacher use? Picture, body language, definition, or realia? Write the answer. What do you think? Yes? So realia, VA, realia, number 4. Yeah, just write number. Is it number 1, 2, 3, or 4? So the teacher brings some types of fruit. It's a. So let's check. Most of you said number 4. So very good. It's realia. So team number 1 got 20 points. Good. Team number 2. Yes. Give me a number. Yes. Choose a number. The first one. All right. So 6. Okay. Oh, other team loses 20 points. So team number 2 has the right to choose which team to lose 20 points. So can you choose which team? Is it team number 1, 3, or 4? Can you write, please, in the chat box which team you want to lose? And of course, all of you, you will say team number 1. So let's choose team number 1. 0 for team number 1. Good. Now team number 3, choose a number. For example, imagine a number. Write in the chat box. Yes. Can you write? So 8. Number 8 is don't teach new language in one go. Number 1, a few. Don't teach a few. Don't teach too much, or don't teach many, or don't teach some. When we talk about vocabulary. So what's the right answer? Write in the chat box. Yes. All right. So is a few, too much, or many? Let's see. It's too much. Let's say it's good. If it is not correct, if it is okay, good. So team number 3, 15 points. Now another question, another number, but for team number 4. Can you please write, choose a number from these? Number 10. Okay. So number 10, Wilkins wrote in 1972, while without, very little can be conveyed, without, nothing can be conveyed. So reading, listening here, or reading, listening, or grammar, vocabulary, or speaking, right? So it's number 1, 2, or 3. This is a review about what we did last time. Okay. So let's see. Yes, of course, it's grammar, vocabulary. While without, very little grammar can be conveyed. Without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed, which means that vocabulary is very important. Okay, so let's check and say it's okay. How many? 15. Very good. So team 3, 15, 4, 15. It's a review. Okay, another question, another number. Yes, can you choose from these? 1, 2, 4. Okay, so 9. All right, number 9. Oh, team number 1, you are lucky. You won 25 points. Yeah, you answered nothing, but it's a gift for you. Good. So team number 1, 25 points. Good. Team number 2, can you choose one from these? It's 3. So let's say swap points. You want to swap. So team number 1 is unlucky. What do you think, number 2? To exchange with team 1, 3, and 4. Can you write, all of you? Which one? And of course, you will say team number 1. So it's swap. Yeah, team number 1 is unlucky. It's a pity. Okay, good. Choose another number. 12. So let's click on 12. The teacher asks students, what color is the banana? Which stage is it? Is it concept checking, practice, presentation, or review? The teacher says, what color is a banana? So what is this? Which stage? Concept checking, practice, present, or review. So can you write number 1, 2, 3, or 4? So let me see your. Okay, so most of you, yeah, it's number 1, concept checking understanding. Okay. Wow, team number 3, 35 points. Good. Number 4, can you choose? So 4, it's number 1. What should you teach about vocabulary items? When you are teaching vocabulary, remember last time? Is it the form, the meaning, the use, or all of them? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? Do you teach only the form, or only the meaning, or only the use, or the 3 of them? Of course, the answer is the 3. All right, good competition between number 1, team 1, and team 3. Now, team number 1, you are unlucky. I'm sorry for team number 1. Choose. It's number 11. Good. Oh, again, you won 25 points. You are very lucky. Okay. All right. So, okay. So 25. So team number 2, can you choose? It's 5. So 5. The teacher holds a picture of a policeman. How is the teacher convey the meaning? Number 1, definition technique, visual aids technique, gestures technique, or translation technique. The teacher holds a picture of a policeman. All right, it's visual aids. Good. Wow, 40 for team number 2. Now, team number 3, choose one. It's number 4. Which one is not a free practice activity? Number 1, discussions, dialogues, gap filling, or debates. Which one? Of course, it is gap filling. It is not a communicative activity. All right. 60 points. You are the first. Now, the last one, team number 4, you have only number 2. So let's click. Which practice encourages autonomous learning? Restricted practice or free practice? Which one encourages? It's free practice. Very good. So game is over. The winner is team number 3. Very good job. Okay, that's interesting. All right. So, did you like this type of reviewing? What do you think? Can you please write your comment? Yes, Somur said yes, Hayat yes, good, Sirin yes. So it's very interesting to integrate ICT because you are teaching internet generation. When students opened their eyes, they found internet, WhatsApp, Instagram, technology, camera, Wi-Fi. So please, when you are teaching, use what is interesting for your learners. Reviewing on the board may be boring for them, but using Bamboozle online game may be it might be motivating and engaging for learners. Okay, good, thank you. Because you like the game. Now we finished reviewing, now let's start our session. Okay, just please, can you mute your everyone? Avoid options. All right, thank you. Now let me share my screen again. All right. So today's session will be about error correction. Do you see my slides? Yes, please. Do you see? Do you see the slides? All right, thank you. Yes, so today's session will be about error correction, and we are going to cover the following aspects or points. Number one, approaches to errors. There are different approaches when you are correcting mistakes. Number two, the types. What are the different types of errors that students make? Okay, the mistakes, for example. When, very interesting question, the time, when to correct and when not to correct. When you should correct and when you should not correct. Very interesting question that we are going to discuss. Okay. Good. And the most important part of this session is about the techniques. You are going to know about some skills that will help you to have a good lesson, especially when you involve learners in the process, in the correction process. So are going to learn about some techniques of correction or about correcting mistakes. Okay, good. So let's move on. Now, I get confused, and many teachers get confused. Many students get confused when we talk about the two terms, mistakes, errors. We use them interchangeably. We use them like as if they are the same. But when we talk about ALT, English language teaching, no. We have to make a difference. We have to clarify. There is a big difference between errors and mistakes. Now, when we are talking with your friends, it's okay. But in English language teaching, no way. You are professional. You have to make a difference. So you have to see what is the difference between making mistakes or between mistakes and errors. Now, so what's the difference? Now, in the chat box, an error is what? Can you write? An error is, a mistake is. Let me read your. An error is a fossilized mistake. Ashraf, good. Awatif, the same. Errors are slips. All right, Awatif, Ammar. Errors are slips of the tongue. We will see. Khawla, the error is found out by the teacher. Interesting. Hasna, mistakes are accidental. Good term to use. Error is a grammar error. Sukaina. Sarah, repetitive, systematic. Bravo, Sarah, I like it. Miriam, error is lack of knowledge about language. Badi'a, mistake is a slip of the tongue. Another term, slip of the tongue. Saida, mistake is a slip of the tongue. Errors are repeated, mistakes. Good. Amal, error and errors are everlasting. Good. Sumud, mistakes are slips, yeah? Good. Olivares, Garita, mistakes, performance errors. Perfect. Sukaina, mistake is a wrong way of doing something, wrong behavior, bad strategy. Okay. Muhammad Amin, error is made by learners. Abidi, wrong, yes, wrong, fault, error, mistakes. Good. Ilham, errors are made by natives, but mistakes are by non-natives. Good. Interesting explanation. Errors are systematic. Hasna, errors are systematic. Wonderful. Great. I really liked your explanations about the difference between the two. So an error, yes, is when you are unaware, you don't know that you made that mistake, is an error. Because the teacher may help you, may prompt, may highlight the mistake, where is it? But the students cannot correct him or herself. It's an error. A mistake, as some of you said, slip of the tongue. You make a mistake, but if the teacher helps you, you correct yourself. You see the difference. A mistake can be corrected when students receive some help. But an error cannot be corrected by the students even though there is help. Errors are systematic. You make you make errors or you do all the time. But mistakes, no, okay. Very good, Saeed. Self-corrected. Yeah, mistake is accepted. Okay, good. Now we are going to see. You make a mistake and then you correct yourself. Why? Because you are tired. If you don't have enough sleep, you will make mistakes. You are exhausted, you are tired, of course. It happens to me too. When I don't have enough sleep, when I'm exhausted, I make some mistakes, slip of the tongue. Good. when there is lack of concentration, students make mistakes. And the best example is the exam. When you give students the exam sheets, some of them, they finish quickly and they go. Once they leave the classroom, they want to revise. Oh, teacher, I forgot this. It's lack of concentration. Or speaking, when you speak very fast, you make mistakes. Okay? Or lack of concentration. Is it clear so far about the two? Good. So number one, let's clarify the confusion. It's very clear. A mistake is when a student produces incorrect utterance or written form, though they know the correct form, but that happened due to lack of concentration, or writing or speaking too fast. Speaking, writing too fast, lack of concentration. Number two, a mistake can be corrected by the student if he gets a prompt, help. He go to school. The student says, he go to school. The teacher, go. So you prompts, you stress, you lay emphasis on go. Teacher goes, he. So a mistake can be corrected by the student if he gets a prompt from his teacher. It's a slip of the tongue. Now, errors. An error is when a student produces incorrect utterances and would be unable to correct. He cannot correct himself. She cannot correct herself. It's systematic. Okay. An error is systematic and the teacher's prompts wouldn't help the learners correct themselves. They do not know how to use the piece of language correctly. Some of you said they don't know the rule. You are right. Yes, they don't know the structure. All right, it is clear so far. Now, I guess the two are clear. So please try to clarify when you are talking about errors and mistakes, especially when you are talking about English language teaching. Is it clear, please? Good. A slip of the tongue or a mistake. This here are going to study a situation. Olga is a teacher. Olga said, I corrected my students in class last week. He wrote, the students, Fred play baseball. So Olga, I interrupted him and told him he should add S. Fred plays. The student got quite annoyed, didn't like it, with me and told me that he knew all about the third person singular. Yet, in the next classes, he started telling me he wants to be corrected more and more. So Olga's situation with her students, who was wrong, Olga or the student? Why do you think this? I give you 2 minutes. You read the situation again, concentrate, and then we can discuss who was wrong, Olga or her students, and why do you think this? Ayub, Olga, Samira. Yeah, Ayub, Olga, Fuad, Olga, okay. Yes, Hasna, Olga, Sumud, the student, Sukaina, Olga, Ikram, Olga, Linda Smith, I think Olga, Najia, Olga. Olga, do you hear me? Yeah, do you hear me very well? Some said no. Do you hear me? Okay, so yes, good. So, good. Is it Olga or her students? Most of you said Olga, some said students. Olga, she had to correct implicitly. Okay. Burwah, Khalid, Olga. All right. Linda, both. Linda Smith, excellent job. Both of them, there is something wrong with the two. Now, you tell me what was wrong with the teacher and what was wrong with the students. So both of them were wrong. Tell me about, let's start with Olga. What was wrong about Olga? Okay, yes. So Linda said, no, a hot correct teacher. Olga shouldn't interrupt. Very interesting term, interruption. So Olga shouldn't interrupt her students. I like it. Alex said she had to give prompt. Wonderful. Badia, yes, a lot of, yeah, Latifa, Olga should choose when to correct. Excellent. Abidi, she shouldn't interrupt. Very good. Miriam, Olga didn't let the students finish speaking. So there is interruption. Good. Now, I agree with you. There is interruption. The time is very important. So we have to ask ourselves when to correct. Is it the activity based on accuracy or fluency? You see the difference. If it is accuracy-based activity, then there is a good time to correct. If it is a fluency-based activity, then there is another time to correct. So very important, the activities you are teaching, you have to take into account, is it based on fluency or accuracy? Then you can decide when to correct. So please note this. Yeah. Now, what's the problem with the student? The student also was wrong. So what was the problem? Now, tell me about the student. Yes, sir? All right. The students, the student will be relying on the teacher's correction. Mariam said, Najia must correct at the end. All right. Lahsan, self-correction. So can students get angry? Very good. Labidi, he needs more practice. Camelia, attitude, good. Yeah, Amrar, okay, he didn't revise his lesson. Good, Fatima Zara, he should accept. Saida get demotivated. All right, Miriam, he will have a problem with people with the correction. Okay, good. So there was something wrong. There's a dichotomy. At first, he seemed not he seemed upset, annoyed, but later he said it's okay. So this is the problem. All right, good. So let's see the feedback. Here is the feedback. The student does seem to be sending slightly contradictory messages to Olga. However, Olga's intervention may have been untimely time and interrupted the student's flow of conversation. It's a kind of speaking activity. They, or the key issue, sorry, here, is that knowing when to correct is a sensitive judgment call. Time is money. Time is important, even though you are correcting learners. Students do want feedback on their language, but they like to get at the right moment, the right time. Speaking is not like writing. Big difference when it comes to correction. We will see later. So is it clear so far? Then we can move on to the next slide. Okay, good. Yes, next, let's move on. Now, approaches to error correction. There are three major approaches. Number one, which teacher's views do you agree with and why? Number two, based on your experience as a learner, not as a teacher, as a learner, do you like when your teacher corrected your errors? Did you like it? Why or why not? So let me read the first approach. Manal, I don't like correcting my learners' errors. It's demotivating and getting students feel embarrassed. I can't correct them, they feel embarrassed. It's an approach, which means not to correct. Number two, and we should always avoid correcting errors. Okay, I don't want my students to pick up bad habits. This is correcting all the time on the spot. Okay, another approach, Michael, errors are very natural and part of the learning process. They are helpful. So there are three approaches: to correct, not to correct, or to delay, etc. Okay, good. So which one do you like, Manel, Anne, or Mike? Write in the chat box. Michael Awatif said, Ines Michael, Miriam Michael, Burwah Michael, Fatmir Michael, Aziz Michael, Umayma Michael, Leila Michael, Kautar Michael, Kisukaina Michael, Dikra, all of you. Camelia Michael, Camelia Ann and Michael, I like it. Naima Michael, Linda Smith, Delay, Rashid Michael, Khawla 1 and 3. 3, good. Firdaus Michael, Ikram, Michael and Ann, very good. Hanan, Michael and Ann. Sarah, both Michael and Ann. Abidi, Ridwan, Michael. Good. So there is no perfect way of, or no perfect approach to correcting your learners. It depends even on the attitudes of your learners. Negotiate with your learners. Do they like to be correct all the time? Correct them. If the majority don't like to be corrected all the time, avoid it. It's a kind of negotiate. But here, Michael's approach sounds very great. Okay, and also Anna, but Manel, no. Okay. Very good, Ikram. It depends all the time we say. All right, good. Next, types. What are the types of errors? Now here, number from 1 to 4. Numbers from 1 to 4 are examples of spoken fluency, spoken errors. Letters A to D are categories of errors. Number 1 to 4 indicate what the problem is. Match the examples to the categories and problems. Example number 1, I should a doctor see. 2, Bob is longer than Laura. 3, I have a problem in my stomach. The students pronounce like this. Number 4, do you like ice cream? No, thank you. Categories: pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, discourse. Problems: collocation, cohesion, sound, phoneme, word order. Let's start with number 1. I should a doctor see. What is the category and what's the problem? Write both. Category and problem. Category and problem. So 1B, yeah, grammar, Sukaina, Inas grammar, Somud D and 4, Al-Abidi, grammar, Fatima Zar vocabulary, word order, Ashraf, grammar, Rima, grammar, word order, Ala, grammar, word order, grammar, etc. So the majority said grammar. And the, yeah, so we can say that the category is grammar. Okay. And the problem is word order. Excellent. Number 2, Bob is longer than Laura. What do you think? B is number 4. B4. What is number 4? No, number 2. I'm talking about number 2. Number 2 is vocabulary and collocation. Vocabulary. Amal, Alex, vocabulary. Miriam, vocabulary. Somud, C, number 2. Saida, number 3. Sirine, vocabulary. Camelia, vocabulary. Ashraf, C, number 1. Anas, C, number 1. Sukaina, vocabulary. Somud, C, number 1. Sorry. All right. Vocabulary. Azwin, Najia. All right. Badia, good. Yeah. Some of you got confused, but the majority says it's C, number 1. Yes. Collocation. 2 words go together. People, we use taller. With objects, we use longer. Okay. And the category is vocabulary. All right. That's interesting. Now, I have a problem in my stomach. I still remember when I teach beginners, they start stomach. They say it all the time, pronounce it. So Ali is A. Umayma pronunciation sound. Yes. Umayma A3. Ines A, number 3. Naim A3. Saeed A3. Hussein A2. Sirin pronunciation and phoneme. Good. Umayma A and 3. Layla. Zahoon A and 3. Okay. Ikram A. Firdaus A. Perfect. So let's see. I have a problem in my stomach. It's a pronunciation. Stomach. Okay. And it's about sound. Number 3. So A, number 3. Okay. Good. Do you like ice cream? There is no harmony, no thank you. It is discourse, okay? So D number 2, cohesion. All right, very interesting. Most of you identified the categories and problems. Good. So these are some types of spoken errors. Okay, especially when your learners are speaking. Okay, how would you correct them? What are the types? Good. Let's move on to the next slide. Exercise. So this is the correction. I shoot a doctor. It's grammar, word order. Bob is a beautiful boy. What do you think? It's a vocabulary. We can say Bob is taller or Bob is a beautiful boy. What's the correction? Can someone correct? What's the correction? Handsome, very good. Handsome. So we use handsome for boys and beautiful for girls, but beginners, they use both of them, okay? All right, I have a problem in my stomach, pronunciation, sound. Do you like ice cream? No, thank you. Discourse and cohesion. All right, good. Now next, when to correct? It's a question for you. When to correct your learners? Do you have any suggestion when you should correct? What time you should correct your learners? Can you write in the chat box, share? If the error occurs repeatedly, excellent. Ala Abdul Alam or Imam, good. Asiya, when they finish, wonderful. Muhammad, it depends. When they finished, if they repeat the mistake, Miriam, okay. Sirin, at the end of the session, which is hard for them to find, good. Khawla. Sar, if they are confused, good. Nabila, follow-up activity. When you say at the end, yes, please. Some of you said at the end, but at the end of what? Which activity? So here there's a difference. If it is writing, maybe at the end would work. But if it is speaking, maybe not at the end. So it depends. Fluency or accuracy. Please underline this. Activities based on fluency is not the same way of correction. Activities based on accuracy. So please, when you say at the end, you have to specify which type of activities. Good. See, it depends on the scale charge. Good. Rima Ammar, it depends. Muhammad, holding a note. Good. They are talking, speaking in groups. The teacher monitor takes notes, listening to the mistakes. Mistake number 1, number 2, and then the common mistakes, you write them on the board. Class correction. What do you think, etc. Very good point. Lydia, at the end of the task or the lesson, good. Ikram, if the mistake hinder the meaning, wonderful. If the communication is not clear, interrupt. Yes, communication is not clear, broken. Okay. Najwa, I prefer to let them look for the right answer themselves, and the next class I correct. Interesting, yeah, it may work. Correction them indirectly, Sana, good. All right. So let's see here. Lydia, correct them on the spot. All right, different ways. Good. Now here, when to correct. Read the 3 situations. What should the teacher do about learners' errors? Choose the best answer for each situation. A, the teacher should correct the error immediately. As Linda said, on the spot. It's number 1, when? Immediately. When? Number 2, the teacher should not correct the error, not correct. Number 3, the teacher should delay, postpone at the end or to the next class, the correction, and provide feedback at the end of the activity. So there are 3 answers about when to correct. On immediately, not, or delay. Now let's start with situation number 1. Teacher, good. And what do you do, Bob? What do you do, Bob? Student, I work at school. My job is to learn teachers. The student is talking. My job is to learn teachers. Is it A, B, or C? Immediately, correct the error, not to correct or delay. Can you write, please, in the chat box? Correct them on the spot, Linda. Lindia, yeah. Sirin, A. Latifa, A. Burwah, A. Umayma, A. Miriam, A. Muna, C. Reem, A. Fatima Zara, Sukaina, Linda, A. Arki Manar, A. Iman, C. All right. Benramak, C. Firdaus, A. Fuad, the meaning is clear, so C. Very good, Fuad. Explanation. Samira, A. Sundus, C. All right. I cannot tell you. I cannot say which one is the best, but it depends on you. Your learner's attitudes towards correction, the size of the class. But here, I can help you with something very important. If the message is clear, we can delay. If the message is not clear, on the spot. In my situation, I may not interrupt. I will let him continue till the end, then we discuss. So it depends on you, okay? Okay? So here the situation number one, is it speaking or writing? Is it accuracy or fluency? What do you think? Fluency. Okay. Yes. So the student said, I work at school. My job is to learn teachers. Are you going to stop to interrupt him and correct? No, we say to teach, or you let him continue. What do you think? Yes, Fatima said, let him continue. Yes, Ashraf, continue until he finishes. Hussein, good. Yes, I agree with you. You know why when you interrupt them? How do students feel when you interrupt them? How they feel? Please, can you answer? When you interrupt your learner and you correct him in the middle of his talk or her talk, how they feel? Blocked, Ikram, wonderful. Intimidated, great. Fatima, annoyed. Disturbed, good. Confused and lost, what I've said. Frustrated, Samira. Hasna, feel embarrassed, wonderful. Yes, feel embarrassed. Yes, they feel embarrassed in front of their peers. They feel blocked. And the problem is next sessions, they will not take part in your classes. Okay, that's why we have to be very sensitive when it comes to correcting our learners. Number two, situation number two, teacher talking. Listen to the tape. Who is talking? Listen to the tape. Who is talking? Students, a woman. Teacher, what does she eat? Student, she is eat pizza. She is eat pizza. So, is it A, B, or C? What do you think? Sumud, D. Ben Ramak, A. Sumud, D and B. Hasna, A. Samira, B. Muhammad, C. Sarah, A. Latifa, A. Badia, C. Linda Smith, B. Burwah, A. Hamza, C. Okay, different answers. Fatima, A. Dikra, C. Buhadis, let him continue. Okay. Leila, A. Fatima, Shamut, A. All right. Farid, C. Ala, C. All right. Different answers, by the way. Aziz, A. Firdaus, A. The meaning is clear. My answer is C. Okay. Hear my question. Let's go back again to the activity. Listen to the tape. Who is talking? Am I teaching grammar to correct? Am I teaching writing to correct? Here, maybe I'm checking. It's like listening comprehension. She is eat pizza means for me that you got the correct answer, because I'm interested in his understanding. You see my point? I'm interested in his understanding of the listening. So the meaning is more important, Hanan said. Okay, so you may, for me, delay or not to correct, because my purpose is listening. comprehension. I want to check his or her understanding. I am not testing his grammar, his writing, but his understanding, his comprehension. Do you agree or not? Do you agree with me? So please, yeah, all right, thank you. So here is checking understanding, okay, it's listening. All right, Sundus said no, yeah, so you can correct, all right, yeah, so it depends. Okay, but we have to avoid correcting in some situations when it's not very important, okay. So here I want just to see if my learners understood the listening or not. So here it's comprehension. All right, now, so Sundus, to avoid fossilization, very interesting. But Sundus, my question, what is your objective in this activity? To see if learners understand, not to practice the language. It's not practicing, it's understanding. When it is practicing the language and they make mistakes, then you correct them. You see my point? But I agree with you, Sundar, to some point, yeah. So it depends. Okay. Yes, Muhadis, yeah, depends on the purpose. Wonderful. Now, situation number 3. Yeah, but by the way, it's very interesting for Sundu said that she doesn't agree, which means there is no perfect approach. There is no perfect way. It depends on you as a teacher, but you should know about the skills of error correction. Now, situation number 3, very interesting. The students are working, okay, in groups of 4. While teacher is monitoring, she hears these utterances from students in different groups. Maybe it's a speaking or writing activity, okay. And then the teacher is monitoring. Then she heard. So student number 1, Paris is beautiful place. Paris is beautiful place for tourists. Student 2, I think France is very wonderful for everybody. Student 3, yes, I am agree with Laura. Student 4, I like to travel by plane because it is comfortable. So what do you think? A, B, okay, Muna said A. Sukaina, A. Amal, B. Ala, B. Amal, C. Sirin, C. Ben Ramax, A. Huraya, C. Somul, C. Azwin Najia, A. Leila, C. Group correction, good. Hamza, C as fluency. All right, C, of course. Muhammad is very sure, of course. Alex, it's speaking activity. C, later on. Sarah, Nabila, C. Linda Smith, C. Sana, C. Peer correction, Lydia. All right, Wafa, C. Sometimes Rikas, Muhadis, wonderful. Samira, C. Different ways, no problem, okay. Because it depends all the time, okay. Now, so the situation number 3, the students are working in groups of 4. While the teacher is monitoring, she hears, which means it's a speaking activity. It's speaking, all right. And she spots or she knows these problems. So here, Paris is beautiful place for tourists. What is the problem here? What's the problem? What's the mistake for number 1, student number 1? What's the problem? A yeah, article, very good, Fuad. Saida, a beautiful. Fatima, no article, good. Fatima, Shamuch, A. Grammar, a beautiful. Yes, so there is the problem of articles, using articles. Number 2, I think France is very wonderful for everybody. What do you think? Is there a problem here? Is there a problem? Alex said grammar, everyone. Everybody or everyone? What do you think? Okay, Azwina Jia, yes. A very wonderful. A very wonderful? No, I don't think so. Article, yeah, is a very wonderful place. Add place, all right, article. Good. All right. Omit very. Yes. Very, All right, let's move to student number 3. Yes, I am agree with Laura. I am agree with Laura. What do you think? Number 3. Everyone. I agree. So the problem is with the auxiliary, the verb or be. Wonderful. Students 4. I like to travel by plane because it is comfortable. Is there a problem? So here in situation number 3, communication is not broken. The message is clear. So the teacher, it's better for the teacher to delay correction. You can at the end take notes. It's very important. When students are speaking, monitor, listen, and then take notes about the very common mistakes. So you are taking notes about some common mistakes. Then once they finish answering their answers, okay, you write them on the board, class correction, and then you invite them, self-correction, peer correction, group correction. Okay. Yes, Muhadi said, but again, it depends. We are practicing fluency or accuracy. Wonderful. Yes. So here, the most important is just to know about the time, when to correct. Immediately, no, not to correct, or delay. And then you take into account fluency or accuracy. Wonderful. Is it clear so far? Lydia said it takes a long time. Yes, it takes time. Your job, classroom management. Okay, wonderful. So no comment, no question so far for when to correct? Okay, and by experience, by the way, I observed a lot of trainees, a lot of novice teachers, something they have in common, which is correcting immediately. Okay, experienced teachers don't correct immediately. Basically, they delay. They correct immediately if the message is not, if communication is not clear, is broken. All right. So Muhadi said, everything depends on the situation, but delaying is better. Wonderful, okay. Fuad, reformulate the error, wonderful. Okay, that's interesting. Good, so let's move on to the next slide. Another question, when not to correct. We talked about when to correct, when you should correct. Now, write in the chat box, when you should not correct. Yes, exactly. Can you write, please? Alex, the meaning is not clear. Nabila, the meaning conveyed during speaking activity. Okay, when our objective is to promote fluency. Good, Hamza. Badia, the meaning is conveyed. Okay, Fatima, when our focus is fluency. All right. Ashraf, when we aim at fluency. Wonderful. Sundus, when the learner is able to correct, when the learner is able to correct himself. Alex, if the activity is fluency based. Wonderful. Nabila, fluency aimed activities. Saida, the purpose of the activity is fluency. Hugar, Tawfiq, during speaking. Wonderful. Sirin, when reading or speaking. When communication is not clear enough. Wonderful. Dikra. All right. Azwin Najia. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Abdullah, when learners are motivated to speak. Hamza, if the air doesn't interfere with mean or communication. Wonderful. Okay. Yes, comments, feedback, and answers. That's interesting. So let's see here when to correct. Sorry, when not to correct. So when not to correct, number one, when a student speaks at the first time in class. Imagine it's the first contact with your learners and you tell them, now I want you to introduce yourself, everyone to introduce him or herself. And you invite everyone to the board to talk in front of the group. And then he or she may make a lot of mistakes. The best not to correct when a student speaks the first time in class. Okay, what do you think? Do you agree with this point or no? School of Rock, great example. Okay, you agree, Samud, Umayma, Fatima, great. Okay, because your job, your objective in the first session is to make the learner love your classes. If you correct them from the very beginning, the students will say, oh my God, it's a very difficult class. I make a lot of mistakes. The teacher interrupts me. I'm not gonna learn. Other friends will, or other classmates will make fun of me. So in the very beginning, avoid correcting. Okay. Good. Number two, when you are doing an activity of which the main aim is to help them relax and enjoy the following parts of the lesson. If it is a game and your objective all the time starts with the why I should correct, what's the purpose, what is the objective? If the objective is just to relax, to enjoy your learners, no need to correct. Okay, because you just want them to get some motivation, okay, to feel enjoyed in, or I mean relaxed in your classes. Dali said, I love these slides. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna share them, by the way. Okay. Riyad Mansour, never interrupt the learner. I agree with you, but always there is but. Okay. Him to feel relaxed. Wonderful. Layla, exactly, to make them relaxing. Wonderful. Okay. So you agree with number two? When not to correct? Okay, Sumud, yes. Dikra, yes. All right, thank you. Now let's move on to the third when not to correct. When the learner is communicating something is very important to them. I give you an example, or you give me an example. Give me an example about a learner is communicating something very important and the teacher should not interrupt the learner. Yes, give an example. Talking about family, Muhadis introducing himself. Okay, Fuad asking a question. Linda introducing themselves. Wonderful. Hasna, when a student is talking about his own experience, wonderful. Talking about their feelings, wonderful. Fatima, about their experience. Talking about last weekend, lesson. Ikram, when they express themselves. Labidi, role plays, activities. We will see. Ben Khadija, all right. All right, Khalid, when conveying a message, Samira talking about their travel, feeling about the class, telling their stories, asking a question. All right, I give you another example. Now you are a teacher of English, you are teaching. Now the students is gonna tell you, teacher, I want to tell my classmates something important about the philosophy class, because teacher of philosophy told me to tell them something very important, and the learners is going to go to the front, in front of the board. The teacher of philosophy say that he, okay, give you the assignment last week, last week, okay. So here, it's good not to correct. Okay, what do you think? To correct or not to correct? Yeah, when there's an announcement hint, exactly. There is no need to correct. You know why? Once they leave, they leave your class, they will speak in Arabic. They will speak in their mother tongue language, okay? And they will talk about that. Aziz, no. Ben Ramak, no. Okay. Sindai, no. Oliveras, no. Sarah, public speaking situation, not to correct. Horeya, good. Sindai, yeah, no. So you agree, no. All right. Number 4, when you are teaching reading or listening lesson, it's what? Comprehension. Reading comprehension, listening comprehension. I'm interested in your comprehension, in your understanding. So the learner says the correct answer, but she makes a small grammar mistake in doing so. What do you think? No need to correct. And I agree with number 4. You agree or not? Do you agree? Yes or no? So Leila, no need. Ashraf, I agree. Samud, yes. So yeah, yes, totally agreeing. Okay, Dikra. Yeah, so no need to correct. No. Here we are testing comprehension. Because if the learner is gonna say, the list is about Bob. So teacher, Bob play tennis. Yeah, for me, Bob play tennis means that my student understood the listening. I'm not interested in grammar, in the structure, but I'm interested in comprehension. All right. Now, when you are correcting your students' exams, I give you an example. You give students a reading text. The reading text is about Smith, or is about James. So James talks about his daily activities. On Monday, he plays tennis. And then you ask, in the exam, you ask your learners, what does James do on Monday? And the students write, James play tennis. So this question has got 1 point. Is it correct? 1 point, or you give 0 to your student? Can you please write the answer? 0 or 1 point? Hamza said correct. A good point to consider, Delhi. Thank you. Hamza, correct. Okay. Yes, half. Fuad said half. It means 0.5. Samud, half the mark. Umayma, 1. Fuad, 0.5. Alex, 1. Delhi, cause they comprehend it. 0.75. Muna, wonderful. Sana, wonderful. You are bargaining here. Correct. Leila, comprehend activity, so correct. Let me tell you something very important. The students deserves 1 point. Deserves 1 point. Why? It is not grammar. It's reading comprehension. You are not testing their spelling, their chances, their grammar. You are testing their comprehension. This is how it works. Okay, so please, when you are testing comprehension, give them the whole mark or grade for comprehension. You see my point? He said, because I think that the inspector is gonna complain. Yes, the inspector is not gonna complain because the inspector should know, and of course he knows about this or she knows about that. This is how it works. Okay, you see my point? So Husniya said, I strongly agree. Asiya, very clear or clear. Nabila, depends on the student. Some students haste and don't check their paper. Okay. All right, good. Number 5. Number 5, the teacher is angry with the students because they are being disruptive. Can you give an example when the teacher doing like this with troublemakers? Once they speak, they correct all the time. Give an example. Do you think it's a good for the teacher to correct excessively or a lot those troublemakers? What do you think? Muna said no. Then is laughing. Good. Ikram, no, is laughing. Leila, it's not good. But it happens. When I was a student, I still remember sometimes I made some troubles in class. Okay. If you don't make troubles, you are not a normal student. Okay. And I still remember when I want to talk, the teacher interrupted me, corrected my mistakes. Even in the exam, the teacher using the red mark, the red color a lot. You see. Good, Huriya. Now, students will hate the teacher. It's better to avoid them. Good. Yeah, be fair. Be fair with all students. Either they are nice or troublemakers. Do your job. Your job is when to correct, when not to correct, how to correct, why correct. You see my point? Najwa said, unfortunately, some teachers try to show their knowledge. I agree. David, be fair. Excellent. Yeah, Saida, students should be flexible. I like it. Flexibility. They will be frightened. Muhammad said, Nabila, yeah, laughing. I used to do that with some clever students. All right. Riyad Mansour, the teacher should accept the students' mistakes. Wonderful. Okay, interesting. So please, did you like these situations from 1 to 5 when not to correct? What do you think? They are convenient? Fuad, wonderful. Learn is a process. Sarah, using positive reinforcement is enough and it will motivate them. Wonderful. So please take these 5 points into consideration when you should not correct. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for your positive feedback. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, Badia said, can you explain number 5? Yeah, number 5, we talked about it. The teacher is angry with the student because they are being disruptive. It means here, you should not correct students all the time because those students are troublemakers, for example. If some students are nice, you don't correct. You implement the techniques. You delay immediately, or you don't correct. But if the troublemaker is talking, you get angry and you start correcting. It's the situation. You see my point? Is it clear? I hope so. And some teachers do this with 2 types, with the fast learners and with troublemakers. When fast learners, high achievers, they speak, they talk, the teacher corrects them to show that he is the boss. But please don't correct unless there is a need for that. Be fair. Slow, fast learners, high achievers, low achievers, nice students, troublemakers. But we observe this. Teachers correct high achievers to show you are still a student. I'm the boss. Or with the troublemakers. Okay. Amal said to kill them. Hussein said, this is my technique. Yes, Hussein from Algeria. Yeah, I see. Good. Yeah, I used to do it in the past, but no more. Okay. It's very good to create a positive learning environment, friendly learning environment. We are one family, friends, okay, partners. Okay, good. Let's move on now. The next one, fluency and accuracy activities. When to correct, when it is fluency-based activity, when to correct, when it is accuracy-based activity. Okay. So Sundus, make mistakes and let students correct you to show that mistakes are human. Wonderful. Okay, good. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Let's have some practice. Accuracy activities versus fluency activities. So let's start with fluency. And these are the question or the questions. Who corrects the mistake? What would the alternative be if the strategy didn't work? What are the benefits of delaying the correction till the end of the activity? So let's read. The teacher is teaching second back students. Second back in Morocco is 12th grade. 12th grade. They are doing a speaking activity. It's fluency in groups of threes. The teacher is monitoring, listening, and taking notes. After they finished, the teacher put some mistakes on the board. Wonderful technique. She didn't identify who made the mistakes. Wow, I like this teacher. She did not identify to avoid embarrassing learners who made the mistake, but she asked them all to look at them and correct. Wow, she's creating a very positive learning environment, friendly learning environment. So number one, who corrects the mistake? This, can you write in the chat box? Who corrects the mistake? Who? Dali said per correction. Awatif, whole class. Hasna, students. Maryam, students. Sukaina, students. Amal, the group. The group. Hussein, learners. Fuad, students. Muhammad, students. Khawla, students. Firdaus, students. All right, wonderful. Peer correction, self, wonderful. Now B, what would the alternative be if this strategy didn't work? If students could not correct themselves, what's the strategy? They can't. Ali, Amal, teacher. Good. What else? Others, what do you think the alternative? Teacher. Okay. So Amal said, if they can, the teacher. Samud, give them hints. Even though you give them hints, Samud, they couldn't correct. Khawla, work as a group. Samira, teacher gives prompts. Sana, the teacher. Muna, the teacher. Layla, the teacher. Najia, the teacher. Awatif, the teacher. Hasna, the same. Sirin, give suggestion. No, here, no suggestion. They couldn't. You have them, but no way. Sundus, remedial work. Listen, wonderful. Lydia, write notes and give it in the right moment. Sorry, and give. Yeah, good. So maybe the alternative would be the teacher. Okay. If they couldn't correct themselves, the teacher is the alternative, to my mind. C, what are the benefits of delaying correction? What is good behind delaying correction till the end of the activity? What is important? Can you write? It's C. Wow, Muhadis, I like it. Said sometimes the teacher, sometimes it can be as an assignment, autonomous learning. I like it. Muhadis, great idea. Maryam, teacher corrects them, maybe. Okay. Now see, what are the benefits? Not demotivating students. Fatima, I like it. To interrupt the interaction, wonderful Muhammad. To let students speak freely, wonderful Hamza. Fuad, creation of fun environment of learning, wonderful. Awatif, not to break communication flow. Wow, good, I like it. Samud, give the floor for the students. Maryam or Fatima, Shamut, encourage students to be better. Hint, students feel free or feel relaxed. Good. Ikram, not hinder the process of learning. Yeah, it's good. Number one, not to interrupt them. Number two, to create a very relaxing learning environment. They can relax at the end. You know why? Because you don't identify their names, who made the mistakes. Okay, so they feel relaxed. And then there is autonomous learning, okay? And there is the cooperative learning. They are working together and they feel at ease. Okay, good. Now, let's move to the next one. The second one, it is you are teaching first back students. First back is in Moroccan students. Here it's 11th grade. So you are teaching first back is the second year at the high school. You are teaching them how to talk about the present continuous. Grammar. It's not comprehension. All right. One of the students says they playing football now. Do you hear me? Amel said lost connection. Yes, sometimes we have problems. Yeah. Do you hear me now? Yes, please. Yes, please. Do you hear me? Yes or no? Let me see in the chat box. Do you hear me? Yes, please. All right, so yes. Okay, so let me just fix this problem. I'm using my smartphone, so I'm leave. All right, thank you. Good. So here, do you, number one, do you ignore the mistake? B, say they are playing football now, or C, say in the present continuous. So what do you think? Which technique? So which one? A, B, or C? Yes, please. So which one? A, B, or C? So C. Hussein said C, Najwa, B, Lahsan, B and C, Layla, Zahoon, B, Nabila, C, Sukaina, C, Saida, B, Umayma, C, okay, Dikra, B. So different answers. Okay, wonderful. So number one, it is an accuracy-based activity. I don't think it's going to be a good idea to ignore the mistake because it's very important. So maybe B or C, but I would go for C. Why C? Because you are encouraging self-correction. Self-correction is number one. Say they are playing football now. This is the third. It's teacher correction. So we start with self-correction. If the students cannot correct herself, then peer correction, help from the learners. Okay. If the learner cannot help his classmate, then the teacher. Good. So Khawla said C is more practical. Good. Layla, self is a good way. Fatima, autonomous learning. Great job. Now you see, when you are correcting your learners all the time, opt for self-correction, prompt, help, highlight, lay much emphasis on the mistake. If the learner cannot, who can help? What do you think? Do you agree with your friend? Yeah, yeah. Muhammad, Layla, Saad, James. If they cannot, then the teacher. Okay. Yes. So let's move on to the next one. So no comments so far, please. Any comment? Is it clear so far? Yes, please. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. The next slide is the difference between correction mistakes in fluency and accuracy activities. Okay, so number one, the difference is that you don't have enough time. Accuracy-based activity, fluency-based activity. Maybe fluency-based activity, you don't have enough time because the student is speaking and you may not have enough time to correct every time, okay? You cannot interrupt a lot. But if it is writing, you have enough time. You can go home and then you correct, or you can delay till the end. So there is a difference about time. Number two, it is essential to highlight where the mistake is. For accuracy, it's very important to highlight where the mistake is. You see my point? So you just underline. Number three, it is essential to highlight the type of the mistake. Is it grammar, vocabulary, tense, punctuation? So what type of grammar? Here we are opting for autonomous learning. I'm not going to say he plays. I'm just going to underline play and T tenses or G grammar. And students may find may correct himself. Very good, code correction. Number four, it is essential to involve the learners in the correction process. This is the best of the best. When students make mistakes, involve them because they will remember 100% if they correct themselves. And they may not remember if the teacher corrects them. You see my point? 80% students can remember by themselves the things they corrected by themselves. And if the teacher correct them just 20%, they can remember. So involving learners in the process of correction is one of the most important elements in error correction. Very good, Amal. Involve me and I remember. Samira, involve me and I remember. Thank you. Sundus, provide encouraging feedback. Great. Thank you, Samira. Thank you, Amal, for reminding me about this expression. Amal, teach me, I forget. Continue. Lydia, how do they correct themselves? Peer correction, you mean? Yes, peer correction. The student says, he play tennis. Yeah, he play. So what do you think? He play? What do you think is Muhammad? Do you think it's correct? Involve, okay, other students. Okay, good. So, Rashid said, very important to involve them in correction, yeah. No, number one, self-correction. Number two, peer correction. Number three, you can say class or teacher correction. So show me and I will remember, involve me and I will learn. Interesting. Muna said, please could you repeat the second point? The second point, it is essential to highlight where the mistake is. Now, fluency and accuracy, speaking and writing. If the student is writing an email and he makes some mistakes, like the boy is beautiful, I'm gonna underline beautiful, highlight. Okay. If the student speaking activity doesn't know how to pronounce stomach, I'm going to underline and write th. It is stomach, ache, not ch. So you highlight where the mistake is. Okay, I hope my answer was clear for you, Muna. Okay, so let's move on. All right, next. This is the most important part, the techniques of correction. Read the error the error below and correct it, taking into account the given correction techniques. So here we have use gestures. The student says, I play football yesterday. I play football yesterday. The teacher uses gestures. Do you think, or body language? I played. I played. The future, I will play. I will play. Okay, so use gestures. Reformulation, I don't like it because it's the last technique. Reformulation is when you correct the learner. I play tennis. Yeah, do you mean I played tennis yesterday? Repeat the utterance. Play, play. So what do you think, Muhammad? What do you think, James? Ah, he plays. You emphasize. Delay correction till the end of the activity or till the end of, I mean, if the student is speaking, till he or she finishes. Ask a question. What do you think? He play or he plays? So what do you think, Jalal? He play or he plays? Ah, teacher. Ah, we have he, teacher. So he, she, and it is S. So he plays. Very good, Jalal. Or use terminology. Grammar, grammar. Tenses, tenses, vocabulary. Okay. You see, is this clear so far about these techniques? Okay. All right. So let's practice now. Look here. Thank you. Students, they go to the cinema last Sunday. They go to the cinema last Sunday. Technique, using terminology, but you have different techniques, by the way. Here, I'm going to use terminology. Yes, Jalal, last night, so grammar, 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 which means there is something wrong about go. Okay, good. Now, can you use gesture? They go to the cinema, you can do like this. Or timeline, you can use timeline. Present, past, future. Okay. Good. Now, reformulation. It's easy. They go to the cinema last Sunday. The teacher says they went to the cinema last Sunday. Ask a question. What do you think, Jalal? Do you mean go or went? They went to the cinema or they go. Look here, we have last Sunday. It's a combination, terminology and question. Okay. Now, I want you to practice number one, C, or sorry, student one. I goes to school every day. Can you please, how would you correct your learner? You give me the technique and then what is the correction? Can you please write in the chat box? Yes, please, can you write in the chat box? So Muhadis, you can use facial gestures as well. Good. Samira, or goes. Sumud, terminology every day. Can you explain for us the techniques? Lydia, okay. Huraya, using terminology. Sumud, grammar. Sundus, ask a question. Okay. Repeat utterances. Yes, the techniques I explained, were they clear or not? If they weren't clear, I can repeat again explaining. What do you think? Because someone said, please, can you repeat, explain the techniques? So Najia, terminology, Muhadis, echoing, yes, Camellia, or repeating loudly, wonderful, Delhi, it's okay for me. All right. Terminology, grammar, the pronoun I. Terminology focused on present indicator every day. Rashida. Ali, repeat the utterance. Alex, ask question. How? Good. Muhammad, use my fingers and point at the finger. Wonderful. Good. Yes. When you are using gestures, you can also use your fingers. Here. Now, I or he play tennis. He play tennis. He play tennis. So the problem is in finger number 2. So I'm going to say to my learners, teach them fingers, okay, gestures, which means that this one here, there is the mistake. Okay, and the students will know that the middle finger is there is something wrong with the second part of the sentence. So I is correct, play or he play is not correct, and football is correct. But basically using fingers can help with simple sentences. She go yesterday. So I'm going to do like this. She go yesterday, which means there is a problem with the second finger. I'm going to put down the second finger. Okay, and here I'm encouraging autonomous learning because my learners know when I put the finger down, it means there is the mistake. Okay, so this is using gestures. Okay, good. But sometimes using gestures may not be, maybe culturally unaccepted. So pay attention. You see what I mean? It depends. In Morocco, this is good. In other countries, this is insulting. So please pay attention when you are using gestures. You agree with me or not? Okay. Sukaina said yes. All right. Ikram, yes, you are from Morocco. Yeah, good. Muhadis agreed from Iran. Good. Sarah, yes. Huriya, yes. Huriya is laughing. Good. Yeah, Delhi. Okay. Ben Ramaq. Okay, good. All right. Hussein, the same. Okay, in Algeria. All right, thank you. Muhadis in Iran, from Iran, in my country, the thumb is insulting. Wow. So look here, for Iranian people, the thumb is insulting. Muhadis, so I'm not insulting you. In Morocco, it's good. I'm saying good to you. Okay, Muhadis. Wow, very interesting. By the way, I had a plan 2 years ago to go to Iran, and I was about to be in trouble if I did like this to people. Okay, wonderful. I learned from you. Very interesting. Okay, Samira, gestures are sometimes misleading. Wonderful. Muhadis, new generation will understand. All right. Mariam, yes, in some Asian countries, pointing your finger at people is impolite. Yes, so culture is very important to know about it when you are teaching, in which culture exactly you are. So cultural differences, we have to know about them. Okay, good. Now the girls are beautiful. How can you correct? What techniques are you going to use? The girls are beautiful. So what technique and what would you say, or how would you correct? Yes, Leila said cultural background is important. Okay. Umayma, repeat the utterance. All right, interesting. Fuad, repeat the utterance. Beautifuls, are you sure? Good, Sana saying this. Dali, highlight the mistake. Wonderful, repeat the utterance. Fuad, okay, good. So you can highlight, you can repeat, or you can say beautifuls. Adjective or noun? Ah, adjective. Do adjectives take plural forms or singular forms? Oh, singular, asking questions. Okay, wonderful. Good. So let's move on to the next slide. Yes, now are going to correct accuracy activities. Okay, so correction writing task. Here the best technique is using codes. Okay, or symbols. So symbols, G stands for grammar, P punctuation, WW wrong word, SP spelling, T chances or chance, V we can say vocabulary, or we can use for verb, VR, MW missing word. So here this is a problem. Written by a student. I'm not going to correct him, but I'm going just to underline. Okay, I'm just going to underline the mistake. So number one, what is the mistake? What is the symbol? Can you write in the chat box? Number one, dear Bob, is there a mistake? Number one. So the mistake is Bob. So the mistake is Bob, which is punctuation. Okay. Sorry, I don't know how to write it here. It's punctuation. Let me correct it and write it again. So Bob, it means there is a problem. So punctuation, good. Or capital letters, very good. C, let me write capital. Wonderful, thank you. Let's write C, capital letter. So C, capital letter. I'm happy to write this email. Happy, Dua said spelling, Linda spelling, Miriam, okay, so happy. I'm going to write S P. Just 1 second. So let me write it here. There's a problem when I write. So this is capital. All right, good. Happy. It is spelling. Wonderful. Good. Spelling to write this. Yeah. My name Arjama. What's the problem? R, grammar. Okay. Or chance. It's grammar. G. I'm from Morocco. No problem. Good. In my free time, I like to work my homework. I like to work my homework. What do you think? I like, it's a WWW. Very good, wrong word. It's to do my homework. In my free time, can we use the comma here, punctuation, comma? In my free time, no need because they are beginners, okay. And then play video games. After that, so I like to do my homework and then play video games. After that, I go with my brothers, Leila and Fatima. Leila is a girl, Fatima is a girl, but here brothers. So what's this, brothers? You said you forgot email. What is the email? I'm happy to write this email. What's the problem? So brothers, it's a WW. Okay. Or vocabulary, yeah, let's say it's yeah, somehow, because there is no some teachers they use vocabulary for all words. Okay, but it's up to you. You can design your own symbols. So Leila, capital. It's a name. So C. Good. And Fatima, capital. It's C. Wonderful. So Leila and Fatima to the shopping center to buy clothes. Or we can say siblings. Very good. Yeah, but I'm not gonna say siblings. The students should know about that. So yeah, it's a vocabulary. You mean work my homework? Or it's a wrong word. We don't say work. It's like handsome. We don't say handsome for girls. We say beautiful. Okay. Yeah, it depends. By the way, look here. There is no perfect symbols. It depends on you. You can design your own ways. You see my point? So there is no perfect way. All right. Good. No, Muhari said, I think work, my homework is collocation. But with beginners, they don't know collocation. So let's avoid like these words, terminology. Collocation may be difficult for them to grasp. Good. Now, to buy clothes. What's the problem here? To the Fatima, Leila and Fatima to the shopping center to buy clothes. It's clothes. It's a spelling. Okay. It is spelling. All right. Good. Now, please, another spelling. Wonderful. Thank you for reminding me about this one. Spelling. Tell what you do in your free time. Ah, spelling again. Tell what you do. What do you do or what you do? Yeah, what you do is correct. Tell me something missing word. Okay. So you can put M, missing word. Tell me what you do. Homework, spelling. Yeah, Samira said homework. Homework, thank you. Spelling. Thanks, bye. So here, based on this writing, these mistakes will help the teacher to work on his teaching style and to know what common mistakes students make. So here, the teacher is going to learn something very important, which is that he has to help his or her learners to work on spelling mistakes. To work on spelling mistakes. Hafsa said, please tell me. Yeah, we can say, please tell me what you do in your free time, correct? Or what do you do? What you do or what do you do? Okay. Now here, teacher should work on spelling mistakes to help his learners overcome these types of mistakes. Okay. There's another problem. I go with my brothers, Leila and Fatima, to the shopping center. Yeah, I go with my brothers, Leila and Fatima, to the shopping center. Very good, Samira. Students should know beforehand, of course. As a teacher, the first session, when you are dealing with writing tasks, the first class should be devoted on teaching them these codes, these symbols, and you practice with them. You can start with this example, with this situation, okay? What's the problem? And you can provide them with the chart, symbols and categories. Once they understand the symbols and categories, practice, give them some samples where there are mistakes, you correct with them. Then when you assign tasks, writing tasks, you collect them, then you underline and you write C or G or M, okay? Okay, so no comment about this one, no question, is it clear so far? Okay. All right, good, thank you. Thanks. So let me see, yeah. I said wonderful, Huriya, thanks. Yes, all clear, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the last part. summary. Now, number one, correct a lot. Correct a lot if students like it and want to be corrected. I liked one of you said the attitude of learners. Okay, attitudes are very important. If students bargain with them, negotiate. Okay, if they like correction, go for it. If you have the whole class don't like correction, it's sensitive for them, so pay attention. Number two, once you correct, be clear and brave. Be clear, concise, short, blah, blah, blah. Talking a lot, explain a lot. You confuse your learners. Okay, use your body language, gestures, highlights, etc. Number three, I like it. It's wow. Involve the learners in the correction process from self to peer correction. Then you as a teacher. Sarah, good. Kiss. Keep it short and simple. Wonderful. You reminded me of this technique. Number four, avoid simply telling them the correct verse all the time. Novice teachers, this is what they do in their first, second, third year of teaching. They correct on the spot. They correct immediately. Please, here I'm talking to novice teachers. Don't or avoid simply telling them the correction. You will make them passive learners. We need to encourage autonomous learners, autonomous learning. We need them to depend on themselves. Comfort zone, outside the box. Once they go outside the classroom, they have to depend on themselves. Number five, you should always correct immediately, but delay corrections also works. You can correct immediately when communication is broken, when the message is not clear, when it is accuracy based, when the student is making a lot of mistakes. Okay. Or you delay if communication is clear, is obvious, the message we can understand. Number six, mistakes that hinder communication do not need immediate correction, whatever stage, okay, of the lesson is. Thank you. So any question? We still have 5 minutes for questions and discussions. Okay. All right. Any question so far? Yes, please. So I'm going to give the floor to anyone who want to talk or speak. Okay. So Linda Smith. Okay. Just 1 second. So Linda, can you use the mic, please? Linda, can you use the mic? Okay. Yeah, because there are more than 100 participants, so maybe the connection is slow. Okay. Another one. Okay, you can. Okay. So Alex, how can we convince students that errors are part of the learning process? Very interesting question. How can we persuade our learners that errors are natural, are part of the learning process? Very good. You provide them with positive feedback. You tell them about you as a teacher. You give them examples. The baby cannot walk from the very beginning. He starts with this, falls down many times, then he can walk. I'm a teacher. I was a student. I made a lot of mistakes, but now I'm a teacher because I considered mistakes as part of our everyday life, something natural. You encourage them because they take you as a model. You are the teacher. Tell them we are one family. And please, my principal in my class, if you make fun of someone who is going to make a mistake, no, don't do it. We must avoid it. So code of conduct, the beginning of the class. We are one family. Create positive learning environment. When you teach them these things, they feel at ease, they feel relaxed. Sometimes students may make fun. You have to interfere. Okay. And be serious about it. Okay. Good. Another question? All right. Good. That's nice. Yes. Thank you so much. And see you next week, Monday and Tuesday. Please, I want you on the WhatsApp group. You can message me, you can text me and tell me what lessons you would like to teach, because on Tuesday we are going to have a couple of teachers to teach online. It's a great opportunity. All right, so I think that's enough for now. Thank you so much and see you next time. Okay. All right, thank you. See you next time.